Hello indie game fans, we have another set of indie games currently on Kickstarter seeking funding with a number of high potential titles that deserve your support, including 3 awesome top-down action-adventure games, a Metroidvania, a roguelite, and everything in between, so check these out and see if any of them appeal to you. Let's begin with Get a Cake, a pixel art Metroidvania where you play as a dragon on a never-ending quest for cake, and hey, isn't that something we can all relate to? It takes place in the candy world of Shugria, where caves are full of syrup, there's chocolate in the jungle and more, where protagonists are seeking to restore the destroyed home to its former glory. There are 6 playable characters which you can freely swap between, which then forms the Metroidvania progression element, where these characters are in fact siblings, which might have some interesting relationship dynamics and writing. I've been keeping an eye on this for quite a bit, with its campaign looking pretty decent after having just launched, so hopefully it should meet its target. If you enjoy bullet hell titles, Idle Hell might be one to support, being a title that's inspired by the Toho games and similarly does star their own set of anime characters. However, I don't think there's a particular hook or gimmick with this game, such as being able to absorb enemy bullets or to switch planes and dimensions for example, but the bullet hell patterns do look very intense, and with it being about 50% funded with 17 days left to go, might face a little bit of a challenge in getting funded.
Yo.
This video is brought to you by Doomsday Paradise, a multiplayer narrative RPG that is all about partying during the end of the world. Reductively, this looks like Monster Prom crossed with a turn-based deck-building RPG, but with the expected hot bots on our main characters. You are making decisions in a dating sim or time management game type fashion, whether it be going to the Colosseum, hospital or bar, making choices to fight monsters or to party, where the collective actions of all players will determine the end result. Add to that turn-based deck-building combat and it does look to have that portion of gameplay covered as well, and you do have something interesting in your hands. The art in this is pretty good and I do hope that the decision making is varied enough, so do look out for its Kickstarter campaign by following them in the link below. Our first action-adventure title of interest is Rayla's Blade, a pixel art entry that is inspired by Hyperlight Drifter and Undertale of all things, which is a fascinating combination. The HLD influence is clear, especially with the style of pixel art in the overworld and the vaguely tech apocalypse look, but does have the Undertale style turn-based combat with avoid 'em up sections. Interestingly, this has some sort of die and restart mechanic, but nowhere on the campaign page does it state that it is a roguelite, where the developers talk about farming items from multiple runs and with a day-night cycle, as well as certain enemies only spawning in certain areas at certain times of day, does look to have potential. This is almost fully funded as of recording, with plenty of time to go, where it is definitely of interest to me. I've had my eye on Dragon's Wandering Tavern for a little while, having covered this last year when looking at upcoming roguelite titles, with the non-violent nature of this appealed to me the most. You play as a dragon, exploring the forest, gathering resources, crafting items, and trading these with the NPCs, giving off some cozy vibes akin to a Ghibli movie. There are strange and spooky things lurking in the night, but it is by no means a horror game and does look very pleasant indeed, where out of all the games on this list might perhaps have the toughest shot at being successful, but every dollar counts, so do help them out if interested. I really like the look of Hop for the Best, a platformer inspired by Super Meat Boy and Sonic, and while I really hate claymation as a concept, it looks kind of okay in this game. You play as a little frog with the ability to jump, dash, wall jump and so on, but the focus appears to be on getting to the end of the level, looking pretty alright. Wanna hear something wild? Shovel Adventure is an arcade action title where you play as an Indiana Jones type character, delving into ancient Egyptian tombs, and if you are thinking, yes, this looks very retro like so many indie games, the developers are actually making this for the ZX Spectrum Next, which was a very niche release from 2017 that has full compatibility with the original ZX Spectrum from 1982. Despite there being less than 10,000 of these units being available, the developers are somehow able to make physical versions of this game through this campaign, which is very cool indeed. Let's kick off the top 3 with The Ranchers, an open world country life sim that of course involves building up your own ranch. On top of farming and raising animals, you can also build and expand your ranch from your main house, the barn for animals and more. There is of course an entire city to explore, which is not like the small town in games like Stardew Valley, but a fully established city which has roads and stuff which you can drive into, with the expected mining and relationship systems as well. There does, however, have a fantasy element with monsters to battle and dungeons to explore, looking like a very promising entry in the space. This has already raised almost double its goal, but check out the campaign page for stretch goals and rewards. I was very excited when I first came to know of Master Key, a 1-bit black and white action-adventure title in the vein of games like Zelda, where I'm so happy that its Kickstarter campaign is already fully funded. This has you playing as a fox that just so happens to stumble upon the Master Key, using it as a sword as you go on a grand adventure, and who knows, might just find the door that this unlocks somewhere in the world. I like how non-linear and non-guided this game is, where it looks very classically designed and I hope will turn out great. Another fantastic looking title is Sang the Desert Blade, a top-down Souls-like title with anthropomorphic animals, looking to have more in common with Hyper Light Drifter, but does have a fantasy setting instead. our main character is an African wild dog on a journey to seek out her long-lost family, returning home after many years since she was exiled due to her ability to see future deaths, now having to live with the consequences of her inaction in a land overrun with monsters. This takes inspiration from some of the best games of all time, such as Dark Souls, Secret of Mana, and A Link to the Past, where the developers even cite Demon Souls in how they thought about structuring their game with one central hub area and 4 distinct worlds, so if they managed to pull this off, could turn out very well indeed. This is at almost 4 times its target for good reason, so I wish this developer all the luck in the world with development, taking the number 1 spot. For more Souls-like or action-adventure games, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.